All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to pCloudy's webinar on understanding app testing on cloud in the digital age. We're so sorry for the delay that we started a few minutes late, but we will be able to cover up things and we'll try and dive into the topics as soon as possible. So my name is Dinakar. I'll be your host for today. Before we get started, I would like to go over a few housekeeping rules. Your line is currently muted. However, you can submit your questions during the webinar through the chat option at the bottom of the screen. We will try and answer all your questions as part of the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. And also, please note that this webinar is being recorded, and we will send the link of the recording to share with your colleagues later. With that said, let me introduce the speaker for today, Shoaib Ahmed. Shoaib is a lead pre-sales consultant at pCloudy. He has around 10 plus years of experience in the IT industry. Prior to his role at pCloudy, he worked with Micro Focus as a pre-sales consultant, for application delivery management portfolio. He was catering to different technologies such as DevOps, automation, performance, cloud, and mobility. So without further ado, let me hand it over to our speaker, Shoaib Ahmed. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Dinakar, for that introduction. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in today's webinar. So today we will try and understand about the application testing on the cloud in today's digital age. All right. So without any further delay, let me take you through the agenda. So we will try and understand about the apps that are around the world. All right. So everything is in today's world is about the apps. We will look at this. We will look and see what are the different types of app and how they play a crucial role in everyone's life today. And then we'll try and understand what is app testing, right? How the app testing can be done. And then followed by the role of integrations, the tools and other fundamentals we'll try and understand. And post that we'll have a live demonstration of our product, uh, showcasing the features and capabilities that the platform brings in. And finally, we will have a Q&A session. So while I am presenting, if you guys have any queries, please feel free to post your questions in the chat as Dinakar mentioned. All right. So with that, let's get started. So let's try and understand about pCloudy. Right? So what is pCloudy? So pCloudy is basically it's a continuous testing cloud platform, which provides access to real devices across Android and iOS with different manufacturers, make and model, different screen resolution, where you can test all the different types of applications, be it native, hybrid, progressive web apps, and mobile web apps. So it's a comprehensive solution that increases your speed of your application testing by enabling the continuous cloud. And the cloud is hosted over the cloud. It's a cloud solution basically, right? And there are 5 to 6 different segments which we have categorized. The first one is the device lab, so wherein we provide the complete device infrastructure, which includes all the different mobile devices, real mobile devices. We do not support simulators or emulators. It's pretty much to do with the real devices with different manufacturer, make and model. With the scalable infrastructure, at any given point, the cloud can be scaled to a number of devices as and when is required. And the cloud can be accessed across the globe anytime, anywhere. So that's the flexibility that pCloud is providing. And then there's also a section for the browser-based testing, right? So if you have any web-based application testing, and if you're looking to test the functionalities of your web app even before you release it to your production, right? So pCloud is a one-stop shop where you can test all your web applications on the real Mac machines and Windows over different OSs and OS versions, right? With different browser combination. So it's a one-stop shop for all your mobile and as well as web application testing. And when we talk about rapid automation here, we are referring about the creation of scripts through automation. So so we have another product which is called as OpKey. Right? It is one of the another flagship product from our organization, which helps you create the test cases. Right. So while you record the scenario. So it has a record and playback feature which helps you record the entire flow even without having any programming skills. So anyone in the organization without any programming skills, still they can create their automation scripts, and they can tightly integrate this with pCloud and execute the scripts, right? So that's about uh, rapid automation, and we're talking about OpKey here. And the automation execution can be done at a very larger scale. Right? So since the cloud is scalable enough, and so you can execute your automation scripts on the cloud on multiple devices at the same time. All right, and thereby achieving your test automation, on time with quality. And test analytics, this is more from providing your findings that you have found across, while you're testing, whether it's a manual testing or the automation testing. So analytics are very important part of testing, which helps you understand the behavior of your app, the bugs that were identified. So it becomes really helpful to get these metrics in terms of logs, screenshots, videos, and whatnot. So we'll look into detail about these things. And then finally, it's a DevOps ready tool. So pCloud can be integrated with different CI servers, be it Jenkins, TeamCity, Bamboo, Azure DevOps, and so on. Right. So it's a complete continuous testing platform with these different segments of categories that we support. All right. So that's about a quick snapshot about pCloud. And we have been trusted by the leading analysts like Gartner, right? And especially in the recent survey, we were recognized for one of the best testing platform, especially when it comes to how to build an effective remote testing competency. So we were one among them, and not just that, we have also recognized with different analysts like G2 Crowd and so on. All right, and so let's try and understand about the applications that are playing a crucial role in our today's life. Right. If we talk about the application need, so it all started from novelty to necessity. So when we talk about novelty, it was just a new experience for a user once the mobile was introduced or launched in the market, right? Which was something new, of a new experience, while it was not a necessity. But where we are today, it has become a real need for every individual. I think without a mobile app, our lives are, very scattered, right? So it becomes really difficult for us to cope up with our day-to-day activities, right? So, on various different aspects. It could be even either ordering of food, delivery food through the delivery apps, or getting through the banking applications for just transferring a fund. All right, you can just be at one place and just do the transactions without even getting into the outlet, right? So it has become a necessity for us. So it's really important. These apps are tested with quality, right? And the defects are found earlier, even before it reaches to the production. So that's where we are in today's world, correct? So it's a very fast pace, and there's a lot of adoption of different testing technologies across, right? So it's just not about manual testing. We have gone way ahead with various different technologies, from DevOps to Dockerizations and virtualizations and so on. So that's something we'll look into it. And these apps have become now the integral part of the business avenues as well, right? So every business has their own application in order to drive. I named them. It could be even from banking, or when you talk about e-grocery applications, there are various different applications, the financial applications, right, which are driving the businesses. So it's very important, again, the functionality of the app works efficiently without any issues on the devices. And different types of apps, right? It could be from the native side. When we talk about native, it's pretty much on the iOS and the Android. So these are something which are very popular in today's time. And on top of it, we do also have mobile based web applications, right? Apart from hybrid and native, if the applications are in the form of web application, so the application has to be tested thoroughly. And there is another application which is on the hybrid side, right? So in today's world, we tend to see all these different types of applications. So native applications are, they are pretty much tied to a particular OS when it is built. Whereas hybrid, it's a combination of both native plus some web elements within it, right? So just try to understand the differences between these. So if you're already into the mobile application testing need, there's no need to further explain. But if you're new a newcomer who is just trying to understand about the mobile apps and everything, so it's very important to understand these three different types of applications, right? But end of the day, these are the apps that we are going to deal with, right, when it comes to the testing. And then we'll try and understand what are the different components of mobile, right? When we talk about the mobile applications, there are two basically two components. One is the front end, basically talking about the front end UI of the app. Yeah. So every functionality has a UI, right? So the UI has to be properly designed with proper functional flow, right? So that it becomes easier for the user to just run through the application, so that they do not feel any challenges, right? So what if the application is not developed properly in terms of UI? People will not like it. They'll just remove the app from their mobile devices, right? So it's very important to have a proper UI, and we make sure the UI testing is also done properly. And then there are backend services to it, like the APIs, which are very important. Of course, they play a very crucial part in, you know the functionalities in playing. So backend is something, API testing is has to be done on these. So these are the overall, when we talk about the mobile apps, we have differentiated among two different types. And so let's try and understand what app testing is all about, correct? So when we talk about application testing, it's nothing but we are testing the application functionality, right? Be it from developers or from testers, right? So we make sure that the app functions the way it is designed, right? And try to find out the defects very much earlier, even before the application is released to the production. So it's very important to do the test. Right? So that's the application. So if we talk about the definition of application testing here, it's just the testing of the application in real time. All right, testing the functionality and making sure the app works as it is designed. So here is the small understanding about what app testing is. So it's a process wherein the tester or the developer tests an app to check if the application that was developed or being developed passes through all the necessary tests, right, even before it is rolled out to the production. And what this essentially means is that the app has to be tested thoroughly, as I said, from all fronts, from the UI part, from the UI specific part, from the functionality part, and also making sure that the app is released to the market without having any defects. Correct. So it's very important. App testing is something, it's very an essential component, so that the end of the day, keeping in mind here is having a better user experience, right? So it should not be a case where the application gets crashed on usage. So the application has to be tested thoroughly. Okay, so there are various different challenges when we talk about the in today's application. So we will look into that in the coming slides, but let's try and understand what are the different roles of tools and integration, uh, you know, that helps us in the application testing, right? So it quickly enables us to, adopt the continuous testing. So what do we mean by continuous testing here is, so the moment the application is developed or while the application is getting developed, the testing has begun very early in the testing life cycle. Correct. So while you are developing, at the same time you are testing, so as to make sure the app has been tested at each phase of software development lifecycle. So the tools that we use plays a crucial role here. So we have to make sure we use the right tools and integration. And this also helps in faster onboarding of the applications, right? And it also helps us to these different tools and integration, help us with easy options of sharing the reports, right? Reporting is something which is very important part of testing again, right? So because this gives you an understanding about your findings across the different aspects, correct? So from understanding the logs to understanding the scenarios, understanding the performance metrics, how intensive is the app in terms of consuming the CPU, memory, battery, correct, of an app on a specific device. So all that together collated will be in the form of a report. So we have to have a proper tools where we can share the report, right? And further, if you are adopting automation, that will save a lot of time, right? Every time you cannot just keep doing a manual testing. Manual testing is always a repeatable task, and it requires a lot of time. So when you have an automation approach within your testing, so that means you are leveraging certain tools, correct? That will help you create your scripts faster and thereby executing it on the cloud platform, right? And then eventually helps you in saving a lot of time, not just time, right? And then also there are ways different benefits when you talk about the benefits of automation, correct? End of the day, it will help also around cost saving as well. And then the compatibility is also very important when we talk about the compatibility of your application across different devices, right? How compatible it is, testing your application on different versions of browsers, right? So it's very important you test across these different tools and integration part. And of course, artificial intelligence, which is something that will further accelerate your testing, that helps you identify your defects even faster. Right. So there are various different technologies that are being adopted, especially around AI when it comes to AI, right? Where the tool is capable enough of understanding certain criterias of your app, right? So nowadays the tools are coming up with AI technology adopted, which helps the teams to test their application faster, understanding the defect easier than how human does, right? So you can actually train, we can have bots, different types of bots, help them understand what the scenario is, and thereby the bots does the work for you, correct? There's no dependency on the human resources here, correct? So the bot can itself do, of course there are certain limitations to it, but this will further add you some value add to your functional testing, correct? So it's very important you choose the right tool, and see how it fits within your testing phenomena. All right. So let's see what are the application testing challenges in today's world. Right. So there is a huge device fragmentation, correct, across Android and as well as iOS. So Android in particular, there are different manufacturers, different make and models, different versions, and on the iOS as well. So how are we going to cope up? Are we going to set up a lab inside the premise? Are we going to have those many devices tested? Right, that's really a challenge. The app which might work in one of the Android device might not work in other version of Android or of the different model. So the devices fragmentation is really huge, and setting up the infrastructure will cost you a huge amount, right? So this is one of the important testing challenges, and the frequent OS releases, right? So now and then, every time we have frequent operating system releases. And Android, we pretty much have Android 12, Android 13 now, correct? The beta versions of Android 13 is released, and even on the iOS side. So there has been a continuous enhancement across different OS versions that are being released in the market now and then. So are we speed enough in getting those OS releases on the devices? and how are we testing. So this is also one of the uh, biggest challenges. And then the testing interaction modalities here, right? So this is also one of the parameters. While you're testing, you have to make sure that you test across various different parameters, different not just on the devices, but also from various different aspects. Yeah. And then, of course, cross-platform testing. We're talking here about of course, one on the iOS side and the other on the Android side. If it's a mobile-based web application, mobile-based application, and also on the web-based side, it is on the Windows and Mac machines. Correct. So that you test your script across these different platforms, or even if you're testing through manual. So and also with the adoption of agile and DevOps, so it's very important that we cater the needs of these different technologies, right? So if the organization is adopting these different technologies, so we have to make sure that we test against the agility approach and also the DevOps approach, and the tool should be capable enough of integrating with all the um, such platform tools. And of course, the last, it's the screen resolutions, right? Every device has a different screen resolution. So it will not suffice only if I have, few devices at my premise and I just test it on this, right? And I cannot release that. So in the market, there are hundreds of devices with different screen resolutions. So I have to make sure that the device, the application fits in properly on each different devices. So the application has to be tested thoroughly around these. And of course, the last but the not least is the security. How secured is the platform, right? Data is something very important, correct? Whatever apps that you do. So we have to make sure that we adhere to the industry standards, security standards set by ISO 27001, SOC 2 compliance. So are the tools really complying according to the industry standards that are being set? Because at the end of the day, it's the data, right, that is getting exposed. So how are we making sure the tools are equipped with all the security standards, correct? So let's try and understand with digital confidence with our solution, which is a pCloudy, right? So when we talk about infrastructure, so as I said, we have a device lab which helps you provide all the different mobile devices, be it on Android side or iOS, with different manufacturer, make, model, different screen resolutions, different OS versions. And there's also a section where we talk about the browser lab, right? So where you test all your web-based applications on real Mac and Windows machine with different OS versions, different browsers. So so we as a platform, pCloud as a platform is providing you an infrastructure so that you don't have to rely on the infrastructure and also invest on the infrastructure. And then on the wearable side, so nowadays smartwatches, different wearable options are available in the market, and there is a need to test around these wearables as well. So pCloud has plans, to test all the different wearables. Uh, so that's on the infrastructure part. And when we talk about the solutions, uh, so as to make sure we enable the continuous testing, uh, 4 different segments. We have spoken about this. I'll just try to rephrase it again here. Correct. So there are rapid automation tools that helps you create, quick scripts for the automation purpose. So as I said, Opkey is then again a separate solution which helps you create your scripts faster. So it has a record and playback feature. And not just that, pCloudy also has come up with its own inbuilt object spy feature, which helps you quickly identify the objects and elements, right, of an app, of a particular element that you are looking at, and that helps you quickly generate the scripts. So that's about the rapid automation and automation at scale again. When it comes to APM side, if you're using APM, so the APM scripts can be integrated with pCloudy, and the execution can be executed over multiple devices. So it can be scaled up to a higher number of devices as well. Test analytics, very important part, which helps you identify the defects or the findings that you have found through various different forms, either through the performance metrics, videos, screenshots, logs, right? So that helps you identify the defect within your application and helps you quickly fix that even before the application is released to the market. And so we are pretty much DevOps ready. So Piclody can be integrated with all the leading different DevOps tools like CI Server, Jenkins, TeamCity, Bamboo, Azure DevOps, and so on. Right. So it's a complete package here for when we call it as an end-to-end testing. And of course, there's always a question around whether when are we able to test all the various different gestures, all right? So be it from the touch functionality part or even different gestures, right? Like zooming in or zooming out, and also testing around the voice, right? So Pcloudy has been equipped with all these different multi-experience testing where you can test all the different gestures, the touch functionalities, and even when it comes to the voice, right? There is a voice output which helps you understand if you are playing any audio or video and you want to really hear the voice so as to ensure the functionality works properly. So that's about Pcloudy. So we will quickly have a live demonstration of the product. So let me just switch now to the platform. All right, so device.pcloudy.com is the public cloud URL. So when I say public cloud, it's a shareable platform where anyone can connect to the cloud right across the globe based on the subscriptions. So if you have the subscription, you can just sign in, sign up with your details, and then just quickly log in. Right, so let me just sign in. Of course, for enterprises, we have a dedicated instances when it comes to the private and on-premise cloud. So these are the two other different offerings apart from public cloud. So those options are also available, which helps you test in a very closed environment, which helps you get the devices availability 24/7. All right, so I've just signed in and logged into the portal device.pcloudy.com, and this is the devices section where you can be all the different devices. So the devices that you see here are real devices. We do not support simulators or emulators. So these are real devices with different manufacturers, make and model, different screen resolutions. And on the right hand side, there is also filter options which helps you test various different OS versions. So as I said, we have support for all the different versions of Android, starting from Android 5 to Android 12. And when it comes to iOS, we have pretty much supporting all the different versions of iOS, different OEMs that are available in the market, different screen sizes. So we support different smartphones, tablets, and phablets. So one can quickly filter with those options. Network carriers, in case if you are looking to test your app against any SIM, right? Any SIM-based scenarios. So we have all the available network carriers for India and US. You can pretty much test on those devices as well. And our data center has spread across different locations. So we have it in India, in a couple of locations in Bangalore and Mumbai, one in US and one in Singapore. So these are the standard dedicated space where we have our data centers across the globe. All right. So before acquiring any device, there is also a section called My App Data. So what is this My App Data? So My App Data is basically it's a cloud drive or the cloud location where users can upload all their APKs and IPA file even before uploading it to the cloud. Right. So you can, if your application is in the cloud drive, you can on your local drive just browse the app on your local drive and just start uploading it. Right. All the apps that you have. So this is again restricted at the user level, right? So no other user will be able to access these apps unless you share your credentials with other users. So it's pretty much restricted. So you can manage all your data here. That's My App Data. And now coming back to the devices section, I can acquire any device here, again, depending on the availability. So since this being a public cloud, so you have to make sure that the devices are available, correct? So yeah, of course, it's a huge pool of devices. So we have more than 350 plus physical devices, right, across the different data centers. So you can always look for the other devices as well. So for instance, if I want to connect to this Pixel device, I can just acquire this device. Just click on this available icon. So the blue icon is actually indicating these devices are available, and orange means the devices are occupied in use by other customers. Right. So let's try and acquire any device here. So I can also click on more details to understand what is the hardware and the software configuration the device is having. So let me acquire this device. Just click on the available icon, and so once I connect, the device will be acquired, and I can get started with my functional testing. So as we can see, now I have acquired this device, correct, which is a Google Pixel 6 and which is on the Android 12 version, right? And I can see what is the screen resolutions, what is the RAM on this device, correct, all this information. So now I can get started by installing my app, right? How am I going to do that? So if your application is already released in the production, right? So you may have, in certain cases, you may have to also test for the bugs once the applications are released. So you may get into the Play Store, App Store, download the app, install on the device, and then test it. Or if your application is in the form of APKs and IPA and it's a developer build, you can simply go to install button here and select the apps which I've already uploaded, right? So I have some of the sample applications which I've already uploaded to the cloud. I can use any of these. And we also have integration with App Center. So if you are distributing your apps through Microsoft App Center, you can just integrate by providing the App Center token, and you'll start seeing all the apps here, right? So for now, let me install any such sample app here. I can click on install, and while I acquire the device, two things happens at the backend, right? So one is the entire session gets recorded in the form of video, and that will be available in the report section. Also, we are providing you such session logs. So these are the two important artifacts by default we are providing. Okay, one is recordings, video recordings, another is the session logs. All right, so now the application has been installed. I can also enable the logs. All right, so as a functional test engineer, if I want to understand what are the logs that are directly coming from the device, so these are the color coded logs which I'm directly getting from the device. If there is any crash that happens, and if you want to understand at which particular point the crash happened, so we will provide the separate crash pointers, and these logs help you understand the test flow. You can stack trace also, okay, and these can be downloaded on local machine, okay, for you to further analyze or share it with your dev teams. So I see this app is not updated or not supported on this device. I can quickly update it to the Play Store. Let me just do that. And yeah, so that's about the logs. And there's also a section called analysis. All right, so this is more from performance metrics point. So in order to understand how intensive is your app in terms of consuming the battery, CPU, memory, network of your app on this particular device, right? So it's pretty straightforward. Just click on graph and you'll be asked select a package. Since we have installed this particular app, I can select. So once I select, I'll start getting all the performance vitals here, like the memory consumption of your app. Similarly, there is a CPU usage graph coming in, network usage and battery capacity, which is at the device level and app level. So all these performance vitals are provided while you are testing your application, which helps you further understand, if there are any, if your application is slow, or if it's the memory or CPU consumption is more, and just try to understand if there are any memory leaks. Correct. So this will further add value to your existing functional test, and these are also captured in the report section. So we will be providing you the report, right? So that report will have all these graphs. So that will help you understand further at which particular point your CPU usage was high or the memory usage was down. Correct. So all that you can pretty much get through analysis part. And we've also supported all the different features like rebooting. You can reboot the device at any given point there is a need. Language, if your application is supported with various different languages, you can instantly change the language directly by getting into the language feature, select the language and then apply, so that the app and the device gets adjusted accordingly. So you need not get into the device tab. Network simulation, very important again, which helps you test your app against different real world networking conditions, right? So be it like 2G, 3G, 4G. So what we have done is we have throttled our Wi-Fi and created certain profiles like 2G, 3G, 4G. So you can come here, select any profile. Say for instance, if I'm selecting 4G data, so I can come here, select, click on shape, and this network profile is given to the device. So whatever activity that I do on this device would be under 4G data. So I can actually see the performance behavior of my app in real time. All right. So that's network simulation. Location. This is if your application is a location aware app, and if it feeds the data based on location. Right? So in my example, I have this particular e-grocery application. So now if this application has detected the location and this is giving you the data accordingly, correct? Maybe like delivery details or the product, if any product is available only in specific location. Now you want to actually mark from different location, keeping the device in one. So what I do is I can just go to location, because the Google map will appear. So this device is hosted in Bangalore. So now if I want to mark the location somewhere across different part of the country, say for example New Delhi, I can just go there, select, click on the map, the corresponding lat and long information will be captured. On clicking on set, this will be given to the device at the API level. So now if I try to detect the app or detect or try to relaunch the app will set the coordinates which we have set through the map, and this will start giving me the data as if I'm testing in that location, right? Otherwise, in order to test this feature, I need someone to be physically present with the device in hand, correct? So this feature helps you test any location-based scenarios. So now you see the details have been updated accordingly, and so the delivery details got changed, correct? So if you have any such scenarios, you can pretty much make use of it. Uh, there are ADB commands mostly used by the developers in case if they wish to execute, say for example, ADB devices, you can quickly enter the command and get the output instantly on the device. There is a Chrome debugger which helps you test your mobile-based web applications for inspecting the objects and elements and also understanding the network calls and requests that are being made through Chrome debugger. Web URL, again, if your application is a web-based applications and you want to test it across different browsers, so we have support for all the different browsers starting from Chrome, Firefox, Microsoft Edge, Opera, and so on, along with different versions. You can come here, select the browser of your choice along with its version, and just launch it. So once you launch the browser and the application will get launched, and you can test it. So this will help you test across different browser versions and thereby testing against cross-browser functionality, right, of your mobile-based web application. And if there are any internal app that needs to be tested on the cloud, which are access restricted, right? Say like internal app, which are not publicly accessible. So in such cases, we have a feature called WildNet, where if you just click on here, this will take you to documentation, which helps you guide on how to, you use this utility. So there's a small utility that you need to install and configure. So once you configure and enable this WildNet, the connection would be established between this device to your local machine. So basically a tunnel is created and whatever request that goes to the device will be routed through the tunnel, and you shall be able to access all the apps which are internal, right, which you are able to access on your local machine. Through that, you will be able to test all your internal applications. So that's about WildNet. And you can capture the screenshots if you find any defects at any given point, which is very important, right? This will help me share my reports with the team so they get to understand at which particular screen there is a defect. I can further edit, delete or download this. So to edit further, just click on edit option, change the font size if required, and just highlight the defect. I'm just taking a hypothetical example. Maybe this icon is in the wrong place. No, maybe I can just save it, provide some meaningful name to it, right? Maybe icon is in the wrong place and confirm save. So once I confirm save, the editor screenshot would also appear here, right? And not just that, I can also collaborate it on various different platforms. So if I am using Jira, Slack, or GitHub, I can just log a bug on any of these platforms. So with that, the collaboration becomes very easy with various different teams and thereby enhancing your testing timelines. So that's about how you capture the screenshots and collaborate. Screen rotation can also be done if in case if your app needs to be tested in landscape mode, provided the app is supported. There are zoom in and zoom out functionalities for you to test all the UI quality of the app. And also we support different scenarios towards QR code simulation. If your application is scans the QR code and you have such scenarios to be tested, pCloudy has that support. You can just inject the QR code image to the cloud drive, and during the functionality, once the camera is triggered, you can simply inject it, all right, and the camera scans the barcode which you have uploaded, and this will give you instant detail output accordingly. And if there are any scenarios towards biometrics, you can use Touch ID feature, which helps you test against the scenarios, both positive and negative scenarios. So Touch ID, of course, this is through a simulation. We are doing a simulation where we are bypassing the we are bypassing the Touch ID authentication. Correct. So that's about the Touch ID functionality. And of course, once you are done with your test, you can provide some meaningful name to it so that you identify your test properly, because we provide you the reports, correct. And once you are done with your test, you can release the device. So to release the device, just click on release button on the top right corner, and you will be notified with a pop-up which says the data on this device will be cleaned up. So what we do is, we uninstall the app, clear the cache cookies and also the data, and also the device will be power cycle. So next time when you connect the same device, the device will be in its original state. So this is more from security and the compliance. We are certified with ISO 27000 and SOC 2 compliant. So you can be rest assured. So whatever apps that we test on our platform are absolutely safe. All right. So let me just release for now. And once the device is released, the device goes for a cleanup process, and we will also provide you the report. So every device that you connect will be considered as a session. So it's very important we find the reports as well, right, for the test analytics purpose. So I can get into the all reports, start seeing all my session reports which I've done. So webinar, this is my session, and I can view the report. This will give you a quick overview on device details, on which device you performed your test, at the OS level, version, manufacturer, model, screen resolution, and then all the session details, session name, started, completion, total duration, and then all the key performance parameters, right? Like I said, we provide you the battery chart, which talks about the battery consumption at the device level, app level, which helps you understand the battery consumption of your app on a particular device. Similarly, memory consumption of your app, you can monitor the peak points at any given point. CPU chart, which talks about CPU consumption at the app level, system level, user level, right? And network chat, if there is any snapshots. So whatever snapshots you have taken are available here, which you can download it. And these are the logs and the videos, right? So the entire session is getting recorded in the form of these logs and videos, which you can actually download it. You can play the videos. So this will help you understand or reproduce the issue more effectively, even before the app is released, right? To identify the issues and get that fixed. So that's how the report looks like. And these reports are shareable again. Just click on copy report link. A report link gets created, and you may share it among your different stakeholders, different teams, your leadership team. So they need not be pCloud user. With just with the click on the link, they'll be able to access the report just like how we are viewing right now. Right? So this is for the easy collaboration. And of course, these are integrated with Jira if you are using, so you can directly log up here as well. So that's how you do a manual testing, right? So I just this session was more towards understanding on the application testing perspective. The agenda was only through manual session. So in our series of webinars, we will also try and understand more about automation, how the existing APM framework can be integrated with pCloudy and how we can execute them. We will also try and look at understand through Jenkins different CI servers how this can be integrated, right? So all that we will discuss in our coming series of webinars that we have planned. But for today's session, this was something which was planned, and I hope this was this was useful and give you some insights about the application testing in today's digital age. All right, so that's pretty much it from my side. Now I can quickly open up for a Q&A sessions, right? So if you guys have any queries, you can feel free to add your queries in the chat option. We can start answering your queries, right? So just you can start putting your questions. All right, so I feel there are a few queries that are coming in. Let me try and answer. All right, so let me just take up the first question. So this is from Raghunath. He says, what are the different types of applications support pCloud does? All right. Thank you so much for your question, Raghunath. So all the different types of applications, all right? So be it native, hybrid, progressive web apps, mobile web apps, so all the different applications that are currently there in the market. So you can pretty much test everything on the platform. So the platform is flexible enough, providing the devices and also the support for testing the various different applications. So any different applications can be supported at any given point, right? Uh, yeah, thanks, Raghunath, for your question. I hope that's answered. Then there's a question from the user Imran. He says, how can we share these devices since it's on the cloud? A very good question. Thank you so much for posting this. So since it's a cloud-based platform, right? So the devices are available for all the users or all the participants, for all the users who are using the cloud solution. Correct. So again, this depends on the availability. If it's a public cloud, so you have to make sure that the device is available. Right? Anyone can just connect to the cloud through a URL. So there is a URL. So you need not configure anything on your machines. Just have this URL. Once you have subscribed to pCloudy platform, you can you can just simply get the access to the cloud, and then you can start accessing the devices. Right. So anyone from your team can access, provided you have valid licenses, and you make sure the devices are available. So that's on the public cloud. But however, for the enterprise offerings, we do provide dedicated instances as well. If you're planning to have the devices available 24/7, so we have such offerings as well, which helps to cater all your business needs, right? So yeah, it is a shareable platform, and anyone can access the platform if it's a public cloud and acquire and do your testing and also share your findings across different team members. Yeah. Hope that answers your question, Imran. And there's also one more question from Samshir. It says, what are the different network carriers available for SIM-based testing? All right. So all the different network providers in India and US, we almost support everything. In India, we have Airtel, Jio, Vodafone. All right. Whereas in US, there are some network carriers like US Mobile, T-Mobile, and so on. So all the different network carriers are supported so that you test it on these real devices. Correct. So not all devices are equipped with the SIMs, but you actually have a filter. You can filter with only with SIMs in it, and you can test it. All right. So that's about it. And thank you so much for your question. And there's one more question on the CI/CD part, right? How pCloudy can be integrated, and do you have any plugins? So yeah, so as I said, pCloudy is capable of integrating with all the CI servers like Bit, Jenkins, Teamcity, Bamboo, Azure DevOps, and so on. So you can pretty much integrate. So there's no plugin as such. It's pretty straightforward. If you are able to execute your scripts through the command prompt on your local machine, then you should be able to just integrate through the Windows batch command. Just provide the path where your scripts are located on your local machine, or if it is on the if you are distributing your projects to any source control management like Git, you can provide the Git credentials, and so that the server picks the projects from your Git and then executes it on the platform. Yeah, so we are pretty much supported on when it comes to the CI/CD part, and we are also planning for a separate session around it. So if you're interested, you can join as well. Okay, I hope that answers your question. All right, I think we are good with it. If there are any more questions, you feel free to reach us out. You can reach out to my email ID, shoaib.ahmad@sstsInc.com. That's my email ID. And you can always log into pcloudy.com to get more information about our product and offerings and the other features and functionality, right? pcloudy.com, which you can refer. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. I don't have any further questions. And yeah, thank you so much for your time. And I hope the session was informative. And also, just one piece of information that would like to give for the participants. We are planning to have a hackathon, with all the different participants, different users across the testing community. So if you are interested, you can join in this hackathon. So we have published on our platform as well. Just log into pqd.com. You should be able to get all the information related to the hackathon. What are the testing skills that are required? So the target audience here is from the automation side. But of course, even if you are very new to automation, you can just explore, try to understand things. So there are very good number of rewards that we have allowed. So the hackathon session is set on 30th July. So the registration is just getting closed uh, by today. So if you want to be part of this hackathon, just make sure you sign up and register yourself to the hackathon and make use of this opportunity. And tomorrow we also have a session. It's a one-on-one. It's a session it's called as Guru's session. Right, tomorrow those details will be shared out with you guys. So the the speaker is from the testing community who has a very rich experience of more than 20 years in the IT. We'll be talking about the advantages of adoption of cloud testing. Correct, and also the digital transformation. So it will be a very straight session, all right? So so do join us tomorrow. That is on 28th July, right? Again, the details for the session are published on our platform, so you can just have a look at it. All right, so that's it from my side. Thank you so much for your time. I hope the session was informative and useful to you. So look forward for your availability for the next coming series of webinars. We'll be talking about the automation and advanced technologies that are used. All right. Thanks for your time. Have a great day.